Hey guys, it's Scott Groves. Just getting all my videos out of the way tonight because Justin and I are leaving for our President's Club trip on Thursday. I'm going to be out of the pocket for 4 days. Unlikely I'll be sending videos out. I'll probably be going through some Facebook withdrawals while I'm in Mexico, drinking with the other top producers in our company. So I got asked a question today by one of our coaching clients, and I wanted to kind of bring this answer to the group because I think it's relevant. And this client who I tagged here, hello, Miss Gunning, she said, when I get a lead, I want to track every lead because that's something we've been working on with her and her business. She said, but what do I do when a realtor says, hey, I gave you this, I gave your name to this guy, Brian Duffy. He's probably going to give you a call. Okay. Do I track Ryan Duffy with no contact information? Do I put it in there as a potential lead? How do I code it? What do I put it on my spreadsheet? And although I'm always thankful when a realtor gives out my name, anytime I get that conversation or anytime I get that talking point, hey, Scott, I gave your name to, Brian Alpha, whatever. I told him to give you a call. He needs to get pre-approved. I immediately, if I get that information by text or email, I give him a call immediately, or if we're on the phone, I just start the conversation. And I say, the first person I had this conversation with was a gentleman named Dan Ortega. I said, hey, Dan, here's the deal. When you give Brian my contact information, you're basically telling him to go do homework. And nobody likes to do their homework. So here's what's probably going to happen, and here's how it's probably going to play out. He's going to go radio silent for a couple days or a couple weeks or a couple months. And in a couple days, weeks, or months, when he gets super motivated about seeing 123 Main Street, he's going to call you, Dan, and say, hey, let's go see 123 Main Street. I saw it on Redfin, or you sent it to me. This is a great piece of property. I think it might work for me. And then, Dan, you're going to turn to Brian Alpha, and you're going to say, hey, Brian, cool, we're going to go see it. Did you get pre-approved? Can you actually afford this house? Is your mortgage approved? And in that moment, Brian's going to be so embarrassed that he didn't do his homework. He's going to say, well, Dan, I called him and he never called me back. And so now everybody's in a weird relationship because, one, the client is in a relationship with a realtor where he has set the precedent that I'm going to lie to you when things aren't going my way or I forget to do my piece of the puzzle. The realtor's in a situation because now he's referred somebody, me, who might be a piece of shit and have not called back his client, and he doesn't know whether to take the side of his client or take the side of his preferred loan officer and say, no, Scott always calls my people back. There must have been a miscommunication, call him again. Or is he going to side with the client who's going to put future commissions in his pocket and say, okay, great, call this other guy, he'll call you back. Now I'm in a bad position because I'm feeling horrible. Did I miss a lead? Did I miss something? Did I actually forget to call him back? Is this client lying to you, Dan? Did I let you down? Am I going to get any more business from you? So it creates this horrible situation, this triangle of distrust, opposite of the triangle of trust. And it puts everything on the wrong footing. And if you talk to a realtor about this, they'll kind of shake their head like, oh yeah, I've had that situation before where Billy here was supposed to get pre-approved. He said that, Joe Parisi never called him back. I know Joe Parisi's a great lender. I know Joe Parisi's a great lender. He probably called him back. The client probably just did his homework. Now everybody's confused. Who didn't do their job? Who didn't make the call? And it just feels shitty. So here's what I do. I explain that story. I explain to the realtor how that happens, and then I tie it into why it's not good for the realtor. And look, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, maybe that was a lead I could have got. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's a deal. Maybe it's not. But you've now put yourself, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, in a situation where you might be sending follow-up information to a client for weeks or months who doesn't qualify. Or worse off, you might now start showing them houses because you feel bad. You don't know if your preferred lender forgot to make that call. You feel a little bit behind the eight ball, and you've got to now kind of acquiesce and go show them properties without knowing if they're actually qualified. Everybody, big waste of time, puts everybody in a comfortable position. Here's what we need to do, Mr. and Mrs. Realtor. Dan, my buddy Dan, what we need to do is when Brian Alpha says, I'm kicking the tires, I'm thinking about buying a house. Great. Let me get your email. I'm going to introduce you by email to my preferred lender, Scott Groves. You do not have to work with him. He'll take the Pepsi challenge against any other lender out there. Basically say anything other than he'll get you a great rate. don't say I'm going to get them a great rate, because there's always a greater rate out there. So Dan, what you're going to do is you're going to say, let me get your email address. I'm going to introduce you and Scott. He's not pushy. You can use whoever you want, but he's going to start the conversation with you to see what you're pre-approved for. I'll introduce you to on a thread. You can start the conversation, start getting the paperwork over to him. And, you know, in Southern California, there's a big difference between a $500,000 house and a $600,000 house. There's a huge difference between $600,000 and $800,000. I don't want to break your heart by showing you something more expensive that you can never afford. And I don't want to leave stuff on the table if we're not evaluating the things that you could afford. So let's just get that ball rolling, and that'll work out. Dan makes the introduction, and now there's this social peer pressure. There's this social peer pressure that Dan knows, that the client knows, that I know, that we all know, that we've been introduced. Now he has homework to do. The realtor can do his follow-up piece. I can do my 2, 3, 4, 5-step follow-up piece to get the pre-approval. The client's now getting worked from both angles to get started with his paperwork and his pre-approval. The realtor knows that I know that I'm informed. The client all knows that we all know that something's supposed to come of this. And now we have a much better situation where we can plug in name, contact information, email, phone number into our spreadsheet, track it as a real lead. We have somebody to add to our database. We have a client to follow up with for a potential pre-approval, and the realtor gets serviced at a higher level because we've all been introduced. So find a way to tell that story and make it your own, and make sure that you can express that on a moment's notice to a realtor when they say, hey, I gave your card to Billy and Billy's gonna call you. Thanks, I appreciate that, but here's why that doesn't work for me. And then give them an option that's going to work better for them and for you and for the client. And I hope that helps. We will talk to you all soon. Bye.